Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Maria Joy. I'm a physician in France and I'm passionate about positive psychology, law of attraction, manifestation, personal development. So I wanted to create this channel, and for my first video I want to talk to you about all the things I've manifested since I started learning about the law of attraction and how you can use the same principles that I used to completely change your life and manifest a life that you love. So let's begin. The first thing I've manifested is when I arrived in France in 2016. I had just finished my medical school in Brazil. I had my diploma in Brazil and I needed to pass a really difficult exam to have the equivalency of this diploma in France. So I had, tried for the first time and I didn't pass. I failed the exam. And I only had one more chance because in France at the time we could only do this exam twice. So I was really nervous, and one day I was listening to a podcast, a Catherine Zanuckina podcast, and where she talked about the law of attraction, and I decided to write some affirmations. And I said I have nothing to lose. I'll write some affirmations and I'll read them every day. And what's the worst thing that can happen is that it doesn't work, so I have nothing to lose. So I wrote in my affirmations, I am so happy now that I'm a doctor in Brazil and in France. I have passed my exam really well. I remembered all the answers. I felt really relaxed during my exam. And I wrote that at the final result I would be between the 51st ones to have the exam. Because you have a classification, of people, the first one to arrive, the second, the third, etc., etc. And I said that I would be between the 51st. So religiously I read those affirmations every day. And at the end, when I had the final results, I was classified 49. So to me this was so amazing. I was like, I don't know what I just did, but I think it was something like a witchcraft, It helped me so much and it worked out perfectly. So from this moment on, I started doing my affirmations every day, and it's something I do until this very day. I still use my affirmations, and I think it's one of the most powerful tools, for you to manifest whatever you want. The other thing I was able to manifest is, of course, my husband. I mean, at the time it was my boyfriend and now he's my husband. The way I was able to manifest, at the time I didn't even know really about the law of attraction. I had heard a little bit when The Secret came out in 2006, but it was not something I was applying in my everyday life, and I wasn't applying it consciously, at least. So I had another boyfriend before, and it was a pretty good relationship, but I knew it was not the man of my life, the person I would want to be for the rest of my life, and I had some really clear reasons why. So this relationship we ended up breaking up, but at the time I had this clear picture of why it didn't work out with this person, and the kind of person the kind of characteristics the next person I attract into my life has to have for me to be able to spend all my life with them. So I had those characteristics really clear in my mind. I hadn't written a list or anything, but I had clear in my mind what I didn't want, which is very important, because once you know what you do not want, it's so much easier to know what you do want and what you do expect. And then I was in France in vacation with my girlfriends that lived there at the time, and I remember saying to them, I'm such in a good phase in my life, I'm so happy being single, I'm not looking to find another guy right away. And it was really true. I was really enjoying this moment in my life. I was really embodying this feminine essence and going out with my friends, and I was really enjoying it. It was coming from a very true place when I said that I didn't necessarily want to meet someone new. But then I think that I was having such good feelings, and when you have good feelings, you vibrate in a higher frequency. You are able to attract what you want into your life. So I was vibrating in such a higher frequency that this same night that I was saying to my girlfriends that I was very well being single, I met my boyfriend and he became now my husband. So for me it's amazing because he had all the characteristics that I wanted in a man, and all the characteristics I didn't want, he didn't have those. So it was, for me, retrospectively, when I look at this situation, I tell myself that I was really able to manifest him. It didn't came out of the blue. I was able to manifest, and for me it's amazing. So another thing I really believe I was able to manifest was my dream wedding and my dream proposal. So to summarize, because I'm not going to tell you everything here, but I always wanted to get married, and I always told my boyfriend that I wanted to get married. And for him, it was not such an important thing for him. It was not a priority. But he said, well, why not if you want to? I mean, one day. And then we had been together for like 5 years, 5 or 6 years. And I started to, think more and more about marriage, about our wedding. So one day at the end of my exams, I talk a lot about my exams in France because I feel like it's the only thing I did for 4 years. But at the end of my exams, it was the exam for me to pass my residency. He invited me to a hotel. It was during COVID, so it was a way for him to celebrate with me, because we could not leave Paris at the time because of all the COVID restrictions. So we went to this hotel, we did like a spa day, it was very good. And then at the end he told me, oh, I want to show you a video. In this video he proposes to me. We were in 2020, so he films himself with a short like, want to get married. And it starts in 2020, and then the time goes backwards, and I start seeing him filming himself in 2019, 2018, 2017, since 2014 I believe. So in 2014, it was the year that we met. I was still living in Brazil. We did a long distance relationship for 2 years. So for me it was so meaningful, because it meant that from 2014 he already knew that I was the woman of his life, even though we still hadn't lived together, like sharing the same apartment, living in the same country. He was already sure that I was the woman of his life, and he began preparing his proposal in 2014. So for 6 years he was preparing his proposal, and every time I mentioned weddings and the marriage subject, he changed the subject, and I felt like he really was not interested in marriage. But deep down he's not very interested in the marriage itself. He did that because he told me later that he knew that it would be important to me, and that he knew it would make me happy. So that's why he began preparing so early. And honestly, I've seen many proposals, but I've never seen a proposal as romantic as his. And for me it's something like worthy of a movie in Hollywood. And then not only did I have the perfect proposal, honestly I had such an amazing wedding with such high energy. Everything was so beautiful. I felt like a princess, and truly like I had envisioned in my mind for years and years. Another thing I was able to manifest was many unexpected travels. So to give you an example, me and my husband, we won a trip to New York. Everything paid off, the airplane tickets, the hotel, everything was paid off. We went business class. Like, I felt again like so lucky. And how we were able to manifest it is that my husband, he had participated in a lottery, kind of lottery prize that was created by a comedian in France. His name is Patrick Timsit, and he had entered this prize only to see the functionalities, because he wanted to do something similar in his own work, or to organize a prize that was similar. And then at the end we finished winning the prize and going to New York and spending like a week in New York with everything paid off. So it was so amazing for me, the power of... I didn't specifically manifested this trip because it was so unexpected, but I think I've always cultivated this abundance mindset, and the idea that I can receive unexpected gifts from the universe. And honestly, I have had so many unexpected gifts from God and from the universe, and this is one example of them. Guys, I just want to tell you before the video ends that if you are interested in those manifestation techniques that I talk about in this video, you can grab my free ebook that I created, that is going to be in the description below. And you know, for you to read a little bit, and you know, there are some exercises you can do that, and I think it's really powerful. Another thing for me that's really special that I was able to manifest was my baby, of course. So as you can see, I'm really pregnant right now. I'm like 9 months in, and I had read the book Spirit Babies. I don't know if you know this book, but it's a really good book. I'll put it in the description below. And he teaches you to communicate with your future babies. And I could feel the presence of my baby maybe 6 months to 1 year before getting pregnant. And I felt it was a boy. I felt many things. So for me, it was going to be easy for me to get pregnant because I could already feel the presence of this baby. But then when I got off my DUI, my contraception, I didn't get pregnant right away. And for me it was a surprise because, as I said, I thought it was going to come immediately. So I started getting really worried. You know, I think we have some physician bias because as I'm a doctor, I can, you know, imagine all the things that can be wrong, and I started imagining maybe something's wrong with my body, with my husband's body, you know, why are we not able to get pregnant right away, etc. And so maybe it was a little precipitated, but we took an appointment to see an infertility doctor, and I started visualizing, you know, using my visualization techniques, and I started visualizing that during my appointment with this doctor, when she would do the ultrasound, she would see the gestational sac, and that would mean, of course, that I'm pregnant, and I would be so happy, etc. So I really visualized all the emotions I would feel, the happiness I would feel, you know, knowing that I would be pregnant, the surprise of the doctor, you know, when she saw the gestational sac. I really visualized this moment. Also visualizing, you know, my baby in my arms once, you know, he would be born, etc. And then we had the appointment, and it didn't go as I imagined. Like when she did the ultrasound, she didn't see anything wrong, but there was no baby. She didn't see any baby at the time. And then I was like a little bit disappointed. I started doubting even my intuition. I said, oh, maybe I wasn't really in contact with my baby before. You know, what's going on? I feel like I lost contact with my intuition. And then maybe 3 weeks or 1 month later, I don't get my period like I'm supposed to, and I do a pregnancy test, and sure enough, I was pregnant. So what had happened is that I was already pregnant when I did my appointment, my fertility appointment, but it was so soon, like I was pregnant for 2 or 3 days, so she wasn't able to see anything in the ultrasound because it was too soon. But at the end, like for me, it was a reminder that to always trust my intuition, because I was right at the end. I was visualizing it, and it worked. It really worked. So, you know, another important lesson is for you to have patience and to surrender to the universe, because things are going to happen. You just don't know when, you just don't know how, but they are in their way. If you imagine it, if you can feel it, they are in the way. And to finalize, the last thing I want to share with you is the manifestation of my thesis. So I don't know if it's the same everywhere. In Brazil it's not the same, but in Brazil, for you to have a doctor's degree and to be completely independent, you have to pass your thesis. So I wanted to do a thesis about a subject that interested me, and the subject I chose was gratitude. And now I know, you know, from doing my thesis, that there are many scientific articles about it, but at the time I thought that maybe it was not going to be very well received, because I thought it was not such a traditional subject to write a thesis about. But sure enough, I met my thesis director, but at the time he was not my thesis director, and I talked to him about the subject of gratitude, that I wanted to write my thesis about that, and he was really open about it and really interested and enthusiastic, and he said, oh, it's such a good idea, you should definitely do it, and the only thing I advise you is to, you know, join forces with someone else to write the thesis, because I wanted to do a review of the literature and it's a lot of work. So he told me that it would be best for me to find someone else to do it with me. And then during a rotation, I found one of my co-residents that, you know, we started talking and we got along really well, and I knew, like, when I started talking about those subjects, gratitude, positive psychology, etc., I could feel that he was really interested about it. And when I proposed to him to do the thesis with me, he was very open, and honestly everything turned out great. And what the story I want to talk to you is at the end, at the end I was visualizing having the thesis, that everything would be fine, and also having congratulations from the jury, which ultimately means is the highest grade you can have, like the highest achievement at the end of your diploma is the congratulations from the jury. At least in France it's like that. So I was visualizing having those results, and like when I passed the exam to become a doctor in France, I believed I was able to pass the exam, and I believed I was able to pass the thesis, but not necessarily being in the 51st and not necessarily having the congratulations from the jury. So I was visualizing it, but, you know, detached from the outcome, because I just said, no matter what happens, if I had my thesis is already enough, and I'll be happy no matter what. But sure enough, at the end, when we present the thesis, you know, in front of the jury, in front of our family, everything turns out perfectly, and the jury was lovely. They made, you know, many compliments, and they gave us the congratulations from the jury. So we had exactly what I had envisioned. I don't know if my colleague envisioned it too, but I really envisioned it and visualized it, and it worked at the end. So yeah, I wanted to share with you all those little stories about my manifestations, for you to maybe be inspired, and, you know, to give you the confidence that there's nothing special about me, and if I was able to do it, you are able to do it too. And if you want me to help a little bit, don't think twice about, you know, grabbing the free ebook in the description below. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye!